Hi, welcome to Livestreaming 101. My name is Don. Mostly my experience, I fell into it with the Occupy Pittsburgh movement when the equipment no longer became trustworthy in the hands of those using them, so it was given to me. The responsibility was given to me, and I started live streaming. The most main thing that I learned from it was there is no filter. There is no 30-second delay. There is no 20-second delay. If you're covering live news or live bands or whatever the case may be, you're on the whole time. In which case, with Occupy Pittsburgh, towards the end of the eviction, we were live 20 hours a day, which I'd start at 5 a.m. and we would go until 11, 12 o'clock later that night. We had some early nights, thank God, and we'd go back to our media center, but we also wouldn't go to sleep. We would stay monitoring current feeds, listening to police scanners, things of that nature. If you're here, actually, put it this way: how many people are familiar with Livestream, Ustream? You are? Cool. Which one are you familiar with?
I go to Blog TV.
Blog TV? Cool.
Mostly Ustream.
Ustream. Anybody else? All right. Ustream for me became on my radar when Charlie Sheen had his famous meltdown and did his whole possibly drug-induced goddess show and all stuff like that. That's a good example of what Livestream, Ustream, and everything was intended for. It was actually created for people to do live podcasts, live video shows, band shows, concerts. Actual Livestream.com was actually created so people could make their own TV shows and do their own production studios. It would actually be just like a CNN channel or a KDK. It would be live 24 hours a day, and you could actually program slots with movies, live feeds, whatever. You could actually edit your own graphics into it, put your own news ticker on the bottom. A good example would be anyway, that was using some of the downtime during Occupy Pittsburgh when nothing was going on. We actually set ourselves up in adjoining hotels overlooking the north and the south entrances and exits to the park in case of police raid, which we saw through various other parts of the Occupy movement where when it was time to go, it would come in forcefully. There would be, unfortunately, police violence, protesters being injured, police being injured, things of that nature. And that's the direction Livestream kind of went after the Occupy movement came around. Livestream became on the map just solely for that, and we had several stations come out of that, which was Global Revolution, which is the main national, international one. During the periods of September through November, at any given time on Global Revolution, you would have 8,000 to 10,000 people watching at all times. Whereas now, a year later, there's no more parks, and people moved on to other things that don't really maintain the channels much. They get an average of about 400 or 500 views. It's actually kind of sad at this point, but yeah. Does anybody have any questions so far? No? All right. Move on to the next one. There's several different streaming services out there. There's QIK.com. I'm not very familiar with that one, but you could sync that up to your live stream and go live. There's, of course, Ustream, which is the most popular here in the United States. Over in Europe, there's Bambuser.com. Each particular station has its own glitches. Each particular service caters to the citizen journalist or the independent journalist, whichever you want to label yourself as, or even if you just want to film bands or whatever. Ustream.com is completely free, just like Bambuser. You sign up, and Ustream gives you, I believe, 10 gigs a month, or no, I'm sorry, 10 gigs total of videos, and they run ads on your channel. You don't see any revenue from those ads, and you could be showcasing the most brilliant, visionary production of whatever it is you're streaming at the time, and it's going to be interrupted by ads. You could, of course, upgrade by paying X number of dollars to go to the no ads section, and it gives you a little bit more big gigabytes. But if you're a poor, broke independent journalist or an independent videographer, you're stuck. Bambuser, on the other hand, which is starting to gain a little momentum here in the United States, and again, Bambuser is mostly based in Europe, will give you the free service, which is free unlimited streaming, free storage, and it'll also give you stats, whereas Ustream, the stats will only be, you can watch, see 53 people watch this video 20 live, and that's it. Bamboozer will actually give you a pie chart spreadsheet as to how many people tuned in the United States, how many people tuned in Uruguay, Germany, Pakistan, whatever, at what times, and it'll actually give you a spike chart, your key demographic hours, your key streams. But again, with online streaming, there are several bugs, and I'm going to show you a couple right here. This one is from Ustream, and this was shot with a high-def phone camera, but it being reshot at time. Nasty picture, which is funny for people watching at home. Bamboozer will give you a really good picture, but it'll log audio.
And the news is not good, so Joe doesn't understand. We're waiting for people to come out of court now. There's actually been a partial verdict. What happened was the jury had 3 charges to...
So you get those periodic pauses and disruption of service for a split second. As a viewer, it's very annoying to watch. Bamboozer is my favorite thing to stream from. However, the difference between Bamboozer and Ustream is Bamboozer will actually, as you're streaming, will save a better copy, so to speak, we'll call it that. And then after your broadcast, your audience may have just watched that and suffered through the 2.5 hours, 4 hours, God knows how long you were on the air of, the silent pauses and stuff. And then when you want to go back and watch it, you can upload a better stream for your audience. Livestream.com was the king back in the day. It had, you had your option with the studio, you could program your time slots, blah, blah, blah. And it was all free, and then you could actually, again, they would cater to citizen journalists and would upgrade you at no cost to yourself, and you could stream forever. During the Occupy Wall Street movement between the month of October, when activity and police brutality and protester instances were very high, the actual overage costs on Ustream would have cost Global Revolution $500,000 just for the month of October alone. Now the new Livestream, is more set up like Facebook. You have your little social chat, your bio, you still have your videos, you still have the access to the studio, but you have to pay $45 a month for the services of Livestream. And if you are just shooting off a camera with a computer, that's fine and dandy, but if you also use a phone, you have to pay them an additional $45. So there you go, you have $90 at substantial cost to yourself. I know I can't afford that at this point in time. It's very tough times. We all have other things we could be spending money on. So I usually stick with Bamboozer or any account that will cater to someone that's willing to work with you, and you can work with them providing a service to your viewers. It's also very hard in the beginning to build a following, just like a lot of the classes you've been to earlier today. You've had how to build a fan base, how to network yourself with doing live stream. It's very difficult because in the beginning, no one really knows you're there. Like when Global Revolution and everything was at its prime, you could email them, text them, hashtag them, and they would carry your feed, give you credit, link you to your Twitter, and then if people liked your work from that, they would follow you, and then you could, whatever you did in the future, people would come on and support and follow you from that. Myself, it took me a year to gain a following on Ustream, and then when I switched from Ustream to Bamboozer, I pretty much lost half of my following, so I had about 100, maybe 200 tops that would watch me on Ustream, and then when I switched to Bamboozer, I lost it all, I had to start over again, and now I think I'm up to, I regained at least 50, and that's in the last 6 months since I've done the switch. And again, it's also because people have problems with the glitches and whatnot. There's more Ustream glitches where, depending on how many people are Ustreaming in your area, like say we're at Wallstreet or California or somewhere like that, where you're working with a team of 10 or 12 other live streamers and you're all on the same channel, you're going to have sound glitches, missing audio, just broken broadcasts, things of that nature. Here in Pittsburgh, I'm one of the few people here. I think there's, what, 2, maybe 3 of us here now already? And we go on. There's no interruptions. There's no like glitches like that. Unfortunately, last night I was doing something on Ustream, and one of the Ustream glitches decided to pre-program itself, whereas it would, I set it to just record straight on, uninterrupted. It was a 3-hour session of a gospel choir, and Ustream at intervals of 20 and 30 minutes would stop the broadcast, restart it, completely miss my audio up. So if I had a 1-hour broadcast, I would actually only have like 30 or 50 of the hour of the audio. So when I would go try and edit it, it's basically physically impossible to do so, which is also why if you're going to live stream, you should always have an external mic handy or the ever popular MP3 recorder. It's kind of hard to do, whereas this guy in the beginning of the Wallstreet days, this is how he worked. And it would be, protesters are running down the street, or you're trying to follow a band on stage. Basically, you'd have to, shuck, jive, and pray to God you didn't drop any of this. Thankfully, in the last year, we've moved on to things such as, the phone, which this is one of the older Android models. It still does its job. But by far, the best streaming software is either the iPad or the iPhone 4S. I haven't experienced the iPhone 5 yet. I hear the camera's really good, but a lot of the streamers that I work with independent media, have a lot of problems because they waited the 5-6 hours in line the first day it came out, and of course, whenever they release a new product, there's glitches in it, and you're pretty much screwed for a while. There's other things you can do, other softwares you can do with Livestream where you can mix multi-angles, or if you have multi-cameras, say, this row here is streaming me doing my little dissertation up here, and we got the Vivo going. I can have an additional teammate sitting in a room elsewhere mixing the feed, which is basically, the software is actually from xsplit.com. It's $69.95. I'm not sure if they do 3-month trials anymore. What you could actually do is, these are 5 different separate live streaming Ustream feeds. These 2 are from New York, these 2 are from Pittsburgh, and this one, the feed went dead. The person's battery died or whatnot. With XSplit, you can actually screen cap, expand, divide. Don't ever try to mix on it. Just a computer screen, you'll lose your mind and really want to smash your face because it's just so hard to try and stare at one big screen. The best way to do what Nigel here is doing, he's got it hooked up to a flat screen TV, of course, and he's mixing. And another cool thing about the mixing process is you can pick the best audio. Like a lot of times, like I said, like if you have multiple different feeds from multiple different services, Bamboozer might be the better visual presentation, but the Ustream audio of the same thing shot 100 yards away will be better. So with XSplit, you can actually cut and paste your own audio and then do the best angles, and there's not a lot going on there. This picture is actually from the infamous hotel rooms Occupy Pittsburgh got fearing eviction. Yes, ma'am.
Can you say the name of that software?
It's XSplit, xsplit.com.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
No problem. That's another shot of him mixing. This is actually one of the still photography pictures we had from the sky cams. That's just during it. This is like right when we set up. Basically, it's also too, starting out, you're not going to know right away what to do, where to get the better angles, where to get the best shots. That's just something that comes in time. When I got handed this computer and a couple of clear hotspots and said go to town, I didn't know that, that something going on right here, there might be a police line or, people having a mosh pit in front of me, so I would cower back here. And I gradually realized the way I can actually move up front, get the better shot. Go from there, and one of the case in points is during the Chicago NATO Summit. So this was right after the Veterans for Peace rally, where the veterans threw their medals back toward the generals of the NATO Summit, and it was a permitted march, and everyone expected drama and violence, and what happened was, as the veterans were throwing their medals back and giving their speeches, we had in front of us a line of riot horses come up this way, about 50 to 100 riot police coming this way, LRADs coming at us this way, 2 LRADs coming at us in the back. Behind all that was an additional 150, not NYPD, Chicago SWAT team members, and behind that again, 100 to 150 state police ready to come in. So I was actually kind of moving away, and then I kind of noticed that they were getting ready to move in. So what I did was I jumped up in my little perch here. There's also a bunch of SWAT team officers and riot police on this like little pillar, and they're telling me to get off, and I told them no, I'm press, which we're going to get into press in a moment. I caught that, and this is actually a very sad event. This was we call it the warning meeting before the official dispersal meeting, and then as people finally started leaving, those that did stay, the handful of them got severely beaten, severely injured, and they didn't care if you were press, whatever. Their argument was, you know, we told you to get out, so this was going to happen. As far as identifying yourself as members of the press, I mean, if you're gonna try and pursue live streaming for the purposes of independent journalism, not just covering protests or whatever, but actual breaking news or interviewing people, you can identify yourself as a member of the press. You know, just print up on a piece of paper your picture. Something like this. This is my Rust Belt Radio Pass, which is a college radio station here I work with, and that's it. If you go outside of Pittsburgh and to other cities and whatnot, they'll demand official police credentials, which is 1, unconstitutional, and 2, if you don't get approved for those approved press credentials, you're subject to arrest, whatever piece you're working on, even not activism or whatever. You might not be able to get it. Say you're trying to interview Bruce Springsteen, and you say, hey, I'm press, and then you try and give them, one of these. They're not going to identify you because you're not CBS, you're not NBC, anything like that, because they have a bigger budget. Apparently, their press passes are more legitimate than these. Here in Pittsburgh, it's great. They're cool. They're cool with it. I can actually go cover courtroom stories, things of that nature, and they'll actually respect it as independent media, whereas if I was trying to do this in, say, New York or California, they would say that you can't. Any questions so far? Got a little bit of ethics real quick in the premises. I got to show you. This is part of an emergency hearing during the lawsuit of BNY Mellon versus Occupy Pittsburgh. They had an initial hearing, and the judge was going to take her time to make the ruling. She really didn't see Occupy Pittsburgh as a threat on their property, so to speak. That's what Occupy Pittsburgh is thinking in the end. But we have it right here, and when you're live streaming again, you want to keep in mind that there's no filter, there's no delay. What you may or may not be streaming, if it's even banned stuff, it could come back to not haunt you, but it might hurt or promote. It might hurt or do well for whatever you're filming. In this case, what we have here is a court's transcript of a live stream video I'm about to show you, where Occupy Pittsburgh is discussing in this section here, which is what we're going to use in the video. They're discussing a homeless knife fight that was about to happen on their grounds. And then if we scroll down further, someone is discussing the medical needles being removed because one of the people at the camp was suspected of shooting heroin. And this is the actual video.
Hey, Kevin jumped in between that man and his girlfriend had a knife. I was watching his girlfriend. She was getting ready to get you.
She was actually holding 2 knives behind her back.
Right.
She didn't see you until she saw me coming from behind.
So, yeah. Yes.
Just watching that makes me so angry. Like, it just takes me right back to the G8.
Yeah, these guys were actually there as it happened live. I was the inexperienced young man that streamed that particular footage. There was actually a meeting early in the day with the lawyers, and they basically did not want things like that streamed or spoken about live so it could be used against them in court. Unfortunately, the lawyers failed to send that over to social media, and I ran with that, and I feel bad about it now, but however, I don't feel bad about it now because Occupy Pittsburgh's motto at the time was full transparency, we have nothing to hide. Which is, again, if you're going to be live streaming, and whether it's media, bands, artists, whatever, you want to present the truth, you want to present full uninterrupted stream. I mean, I'm like, well, what would you like to do with your streamer?
Well, I'm a sports blogger and journalist and stuff like that. I do a lot of question and answer, and I've got interaction with my readers and viewers and stuff like that. So I'd go on and do like monologues and talk about the day's news and give my opinion.
Cool. You're already streaming now, or?
Yeah.
Oh, cool. All right. So yeah, for those of you that don't know about the streaming software, there are chat rooms and things like that where you can interact. One thing I dislike about Ustream right now, they actually separated the chat to there's a chat room and a social stream. The social stream is they send it to you, and it goes out on Twitter, everywhere else. If you're live streaming on a phone, and unless you have the window open, you don't know those messages are coming in, so you can't really interact with them unless you have the window up. Whereas Bamboozer, if you're streaming on a phone, your phone will vibrate, or if you leave your ringtone on, it'll go right in front of your main screen. You can actually interact with people. I've had a lot of streams in the past when I was young and inexperienced. No one told me about the chat rooms, and it took a while. And then I'd go back to the old videos and stuff. There were people asking like legitimate questions, info, things of that nature, where I could have been interacting with them. And unfortunately, it never happened. And I lost a lot of viewers and supporters over that because I wasn't interacting with them. How about you? What was your interest in live stream?
To do like author events where, like authors here in Pittsburgh, but you can still do a book event in, let's say, Colorado. And you can go into like a library or a bookstore and interact with your favorite author.
That's cool. That's cool. We did, I'm starting to do a lot of that stuff where I'm starting to work with local artists. But it's mostly bands and poets. But I mean, it's starting to get good. I mean, it's like, we had the day of MTV, and unfortunately that went to hell with reality TV and stuff, and they don't play music anymore. So a lot of people want to know where can they go now for this. And even if they don't like what Mark Madden or anybody's saying, like, where can we go to actually get like, decent unbiased sports talk or some sports talk, and we're not going to hear the same things over and over and over again. Which this is one example again of that XSplit in
Watch
live
their
formation.
fear grow because it's being sold to them and told to them, and they don't even know it because they're asleep. That's all I gotta say. Sorry.
So did you mean that when you said the piece was called something we can all agree on, that it was a match?
One thing about XSplit too, it takes a good 20 minutes to set up your screen. So if you're going to actually have someone mixing, and then you're going to have 1, 2, 3 cameras, you can do it with just one camera too, and then someone mixing. But it takes a lot to set up your graphics, put 2 cameras up in here, and then if you have the god-awful crash, everything goes away. What XSplit does is it'll broadcast onto mostly your live stream channel. So say I want to, I have multi-camera feeds and whatnot. My mixer picks them all up, and then it'll send itself out onto a main live stream page. Unfortunately, Ustream and Bamboozer have not been able to duplicate the technology yet, or work with XSplit to make this happen. Ustream is actually starting to offer graphics. They're not the greatest graphics in the world, but they're starting to work with it and get it there. I found this out last night just messing around and put my little graphic up, and it was like in the middle of the screen. It was very annoying. I couldn't get it up, couldn't get it down. But it's all about playing and experimenting, which will bring us to our next part. How do you stream? Do you use Wi-Fi? Do you use Ethernet or Wi-Fi? Wi-Fi. Cool. Do you use Clear or just Comcast or?
Yeah, Comcast.
Comcast. Cool. Have you started streaming yet or? Okay. What we use is Clear hotspots. A long time ago, they had a great deal where you could get 2 of them and only pay $40. I think now it's 1 unit at $40. If you get 2, it's $50. it's actually the better thing. So if you're trying to stream on your phone, you know, you don't want to use your phone's bandwidth because then you have overages and ridiculous costs. And Clear works perfect, except in downtown Pittsburgh during lunch hour and at the end of the day when everybody's screwing around with their office, which is waiting to go home. There is no Clear channel service in Ohio whatsoever. But for the most part, you get the Clear spot, you can take this thing with you everywhere. I've taken it to New York, it's worked great. I've taken it to Kentucky, I'm going to be taking it to Richmond. And the cool thing about Clear too is you can actually type in whatever address you're going. Say you're going to Florida, you know, you're going on vacation, you want to stream your vacation, or you're going to see a poet, or you're covering a sporting event down in Florida and you want to stream, you can type into Clear's website the exact physical address where you're going, and it'll tell you, you know, you have perfect coverage, you're going to have crappy coverage, or it's going to say, I think one time I actually saw, it said, oh my gosh, we're not there yet. So you know that once you get out there, it's gone. The downside is the screens do go away. You can't really see it, but usually there's a little display there, and I can name it, you know, whatever. I think this one's called Pittsburgh Indy Media 2, and it'll show you how much of a signal you have, how much bit rate, you know, all that good stuff. And the downside is the screens go away so quickly, but Clear is really cool with swapping the stuff out. You usually call them up, send it back to them, they'll get it back to you within a week or so. I have 2 as a backup because I can't, with trying to do live streaming for myself. What I do, if I'm out with one, I'm out of business for 2 or 3 weeks. Do you have a question? Or?
I was just saying, not to make this into a running commercial for Clear for you, but they just actually posted their response to the hurricane, how they'll keep their service up.
yeah.
It's the company who's really proactive.
They're going to have a bunch of guys and ladies hanging out, overstaffed, just like Pennsylvania just declared the state of emergency, and whatever the storm's coming is going to happen hasn't come yet. State of PA is called the state of emergency. Clear is called their own to make sure everybody's Clear spots are available, and they said we're going to have 16 to 20 people at all times in various buildings with gas-powered diesel, so if this storm messes us up, we guarantee you're not going to lose signal at all. Whether that's actually going to happen or not, cool, you know. We can all live without a little bit of internet every now and again. And then occasionally, if you're live streaming, like your blog, what's the local Pompeiani sports talk show?
I don't watch that.
Yeah, I don't watch it because it's garbage. But all right, say whatever, you cover something they can't, or they show up late to the party, and you're there, you're streaming live, and you get a great interview with Barry Bonds, whoever. They want it. They're actually not even going to talk to you and steal it.
Occupy Pittsburgh, rallying downtown tonight, but it didn't turn out quite as planned. General Frank News reporter Keith Jones, you pulled up as this was all happening. What led to this?
Well, they were protesting the gas and oil industry at the convention center downtown. Inside, there was a conference going on. Just outside, the protesters were on private property, and that's where the trouble starts. 5 people were arrested. Here is the Allegheny County Jail, and we have the video. This video was live streamed on the Occupy Pittsburgh website. It shows several officers ushering protesters out from underneath the convention center, where Marcella's show conference was underway. We spoke with the woman behind the lens.
Let's make a statement, saying let's stay, let's do this, and we're here. Fight, let's fight.
Police say a total of 5 protesters were arrested when they refused to leave the convention center property. The ones who did leave congregated here along 10th Street, which is public property. By this time, the police presence was massive. About 150 protesters gathered, holding signs like these, while high above, attendees watched the action inside the convention center. When they came out, the protesters screamed at them.
I wasn't really expecting to see anything like this. I'm really not sure what it's about. It sounds like they're worried about the environment, which is very concerning.
The 5 protesters were arrested and been charged with obstructing traffic, failure to disperse, defiant trespass, and disorderly conduct.
You know, typical, you see the police defending big business, defending the oil, and there's much evidence that the drilling of Marcellus shale is poisoning the water.
This conference is expected to run through Thursday, and we're working right now to learn more about the 5 protesters who are behind bars here at the Allegheny County Jail. That's what we're live. Keith Jones, Channel 4 Action News.
That was a case of WTE showing up late to the party when the protesters had already been arrested. And sorry to keep going back to protesting and whatnot. Again, that's where I came from. I'm only starting to branch out now to bigger, broader other things.
How did the traditional media, such as like global TV stations, actually treat someone like you, the non-traditional press? Was they have any respect for you at all?
It took a year, but yeah, now we do actually have a little bit of credit. Like back then, you know, Occupy Pittsburgh really didn't care that that footage was taken without asking. Back then, they just thought we were annoying. They really didn't understand what we were doing. I think right around the time we got the hotel rooms with the multiple sky cameras covering whatever might happen. And the Allegheny County Sheriff Mullen actually said that because we were doing that in the hotels, they had to change their tactics several different times. And it wasn't just the sky cams. We were monitoring their movements. We had people in other cities and states retweeting, sending things like that. So we were more of an annoyance. Like a lot of the times, they would be camped out with us. Like again, we would be live starting at 5 a.m. going all up. They would show up, do their spots, you know, kind of try and get interviews real quick, get in their vans, not even talk to us. A year later, after I would outscoop them a little bit, there were things would be happening live, and I would get there before them, or they would just be like running with the rumor. The best case in point is a hostage situation here in downtown not too long ago. WPXI was experimenting with Livestream, and it wasn't on livestream.com. It was just their live. They were basically live on the internet. They had a live camera going, and they called it Livestream. They actually did more harm than help, and again, this comes back to ethics, where they found out the hostage taker's name, his Twitter, his Facebook. The chief of police said, please don't release this. You might be putting people in danger. They threw it out there live, and thankfully nothing happened to anybody, and everybody made it out okay, but that could have gone south really quick. So then I got there, I got really mad at that, got there, covered it, refused to cover it in speculation, just got there for the police, press conferences, things like that. Whereas a year ago, I would show up and try and cover a press conference, and I'd basically be muscled out. Whereas now, with the Nate Harper thing, I can get up that close. Whereas before, they were just like, oh, you got to cover it, or get out of here, you know. Now it's actually a little bit cool. Actually, I'm going to plug John Delano real quick. There was a story him and I were both covering. A family from Minnesota had their house taken away by PNC. PNC bought National City out a long time ago. There was some kind of bank error where the family lost their house. PNC rejected their bank payment online. They had the money in the account. The website was down. Didn't take the payment. PNC foreclosed on the house. John Dell and I were covering this family here in Pittsburgh to do it, and he would actually come up to me and ask me what I knew, because he didn't know. All he got was a press release saying show up. And I actually did the groundwork and legwork on the story, interviewing the family, interviewing the protesters and whatnot, and covering the Jordan Miles trial, where we actually, the federal marshals were cool with this. They knew we were press. They told us in the beginning we had to give up our phones, our computers, all that stuff, and they said, we know you're media, all you need is a press pass. Which is, again, the very next day we had these and showed up, and they let us keep our phones and computers and put these in the computer room, or in the courtroom rather, and yeah, we were a minor annoyance. I guess the better answer would be a year ago. Actually, now today I can actually show up and cover a story, and as long as I'm not, trying to camera bomb or photo bomb their stuff, they won't try and phase me out. They'll actually be social. And several members of the media have stolen many of my pens to this day in the last few months, covering various stories. But before it would just be like, oh, whatever, and then they wouldn't get the shot. They'd steal our footage, not even ask permission. I had a thing back in June or July. I just got back from the NATO Summit in Chicago, and I covered the decentralized dance party here in Pittsburgh, which these guys from Canada were going on tour, and they'd have 50 to 100 boom boxes, and they'd have a little thing where it could broadcast out to all 100. Mainstream media didn't show up. I'm sorry, the Post-Gazette showed up, and I think the City paper showed up for the party. I showed up, covered it. A few boom boxes were left behind the next day, which shut down part of 79 because there was a bomb threat. Because the boom boxes were kind of stacked up on top of each other and then placed, to be put back in the, I guess the bus or the car or whatever, so they could move on to the next city. They forgot it, shut everything down. WPXI went, oh, holy crap, we got to find video of this. And what I did, I broadcast it out on Ustream the night before. And then I also put it out on YouTube. And then they didn't steal my Ustream footage, because then they would have to acknowledge that this was the work of someone else. They would have to leave royalties and stuff like that out. They basically stole it from my YouTube, which at that time YouTube enabled the Creative Commons attribute, Creative Commons non-commercial attribute, which is basically if, like, you know, again, you have a great interview, you put it out on YouTube, or you do a really good interview and they steal it. If it's protected under Creative Commons, if it's just Creative Commons attribute, they can just, you know, give you credit. We got this from so-and-so, you know, Miss Delicious's YouTube, or Mr. Smoker's YouTube, and, you know, whatever. So WPXI basically stole my footage. I got really upset. Some people more experienced than I that were in the Indy field, because I've never had my footage stolen before. I didn't even know they took it. A friend actually had to tell me that, hey man, is that your stuff on the news? And I looked at it and they're like, yeah, whatever. But then I got mad, because then the story started getting more play and stuff like that, and they didn't credit the work, so I basically sent them an angry email. They said they wanted to take care of it. Friends more experienced in the independent line of work that I'm in now said, you know, send them a letter with a bill. They use like 10 seconds of the footage, like charge them $40 a second. And then I sent the bill off. I haven't heard back from them. I'll expect to, but that's just another risk of the game.
On software companies, I've been trying to address this issue of citizen journalism and stolen footage being paid. So there's a newer software for iPhones and Androids. One of those is called Wallstreet for raw reporting, and it sets you up with the proper licensing, and then gives the media, and then it'll alert Associated Press or other major networks, hey, this is this footage, this is from here, they're looking for footage, and they have to pay for it.
Yeah.
So the actual software is working on solutions to making sure people are credited, paid for what they need or what to do.
Yeah, Ustream just did a thing with the Huffington Post not too long ago during the Republican and Democratic National Conventions, where it was a contest, and basically every independent journalist and civilian journalist live streamer, which we're going to talk about this in a minute, we need money, because this costs a lot of money to upgrade your gear and things of that nature. So they ran a contest to become a Huffington Post poster child or whatever, and you won X number of dollars, and they paid your way to go stream and cover all these events. But also, it gave Huffington Post free reign on the Ustream page. So basically, again, you have something awesome out there, it's yours, you're very proud of it. Huffington Post is like, okay, cool, we have this deal with Ustream, it's, you know, it's ours. Again, they'll give you credit, but they're the ones that are going to be making the money, because they're going to have your article there, or I'm sorry, your video here, your show here, my whatever I'm doing here, run ads all over it, and then just be like, oh, well, you should be happy for the work. And Bamboozler's doing something similar too with the Associated Press. However, it's not the AP can just come in and take your work. It's, would you like to opt into this program? In which case, the AP's watching, again, you've got Game 7 of the World Series, the most perfect interview ever. The Associated Press will like it. They'll actually like call you up and be like, hey, can we run this? Is it okay? You know, you opted in to like subscribe, or we can subscribe to your stuff, and blah, blah, blah. So that brings us to our next point with fundraising. I know, like, what are you streaming? Are you just doing a computer, or?
Yeah, I just broadcast from my house and stuff like that.
Cool, just like a webcam? Or?
Yeah, I haven't done the, you know, live, you know, remote type thing yet.
Yeah, I mean, it's cool. It's cool to do it from your, like, you're just in a standard position. Like last night when I did the gospel thing, I had this camera up high, it was a sky cam, and then I had my second computer down below with another one, and I had my phone as a third camera. You can also, with Ustream now, I believe you can hook up video cameras to it, and then you have the perfect zoom in, zoom out, stuff like that. Again, the iPhone 4S is the best ever if you're just going to be streaming for your phone. But like on the go, if you're trying to get interviews at like sporting events and stuff, if you're able to get that far and pull something aside, the phone's like really cool. You just pull it out, hit a button, and go. I mean, you can download the apps on your phone. It's the Ustream app, the Bamboozler app, and of course they update it every now and again. And with every update, just like a new product, there's going to be god-awful glitches and crashes, things of that nature. What kind of camera are you using?
It's just like a standard Windows HD cam.
Oh, cool. we use these during Occupy Pittsburgh and for band events and art shows. If you just want to do a standard like Happy Birthday Mom video or something. This is the Logitech 910. They did upgrade it. I think it's the Logitech 925 now, where it does broadcast in high definition, and it gives you a little controller where you can move the camera lens up, down, left, right, zoom in, zoom out. And then they have the other version, which is the Logitech 525. It's a lot less bulkier, but it doesn't option the zoom in, zoom out. So if I'm trying to stream from here to this young lady in the back, it's just going to show the long shot. It's going to be in high def. It's going to be cool, but whereas if she's speaking and I want to like zoom in and show my audience, you know, what she's actually saying, I can just zoom in.
Do you guys have issues with auto refocus and stuff like that?
With the Logitech, I mean, with just speaking on the 910, if it's live on the Ustream, the only issue I have is the half to 3 second delay, where if I'm zooming in or something. It won't be like a autofocus issue, because what I'll do is I'll just set the before I go live, I'll set it up, you know, you go into the little box where it says, you know, you click start broadcast, start record, and I'll let the camera adjust itself. So if I want to start with a wide angle, I'll just let it go, and then it'll already be like refocused and ready to go when I hit go live. If I want to start with a close shot, obviously I'll zoom in. But yeah, the only issue I have with the zooming in and zooming out part is the couple second delay. You know, you can actually tell. It's not like it's going to be an auto zoom. You actually have to click it, you know, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and that'll reflect your broadcast. And unfortunately, you know, they'll tell. Not tell you're an amateur, not tell anything. It'll just be like, what the hell? Why is it an auto zoom? You know, a lot of people don't understand that it's a really cool camera. It's a really cool thing. They don't know what you're working with. Like a lot of your viewers too will always expect the best quality broadcast possible. You know, sometimes internet connections or service provider bugs aren't going to let that happen. It makes you extremely mad because you know you can do better and you can provide a better service to everybody, which is again brings us back to fundraising, because you know every 6 months, every 4 months, a better webcam comes out, a better phone comes out. You want to get the external mic. When I played that WTAE clip when they were actually showing the Occupy Pittsburgh footage, I'm not sure if you could tell, but it kind of sounded like everything was underwater a little bit. That's one of the downsides of the, I mean, do you have that problem with your camera?
No, not yet.
All right. The old live stream would be cool because it actually had a sound mixer in there where you can actually fix it so it wouldn't sound like that. Ustream has the, you want to like lower your audio quality, which makes it sound even crappier, and then the actual broadcast volume. I had that problem last night at the gospel show with Bamboozer, which I just learned this last night. I normally use my Bamboozer just on the phone, but I've experimented with filming bands and artists and stuff, shooting from a standard one shot, and Bamboozer actually offers the echo filter, so it'll actually kind of like muffle that underwater kind of weird sound. That's the only issue I have with the 910. Otherwise, you know, the audio is hit or miss, which is why you want to use, you know, the external mic. And that's another bag of bones with the live stream servers and providers is they'll have, you know, your webcam mic, computer mic, and then they'll give you like 8 different options just for one external. Like this one has 1 mic plug-in, 2 headphone plugins. My buddy Nigel's computer actually had 2 mic plugins, so it made sense with 2 options. But if you just have 1 mic plug-in and you're like have 5 minutes to go live, you got to sit and like play with that for a minute, you know. But again, it goes back to fundraising, and you know, I mean, if you have the money to like continuously upgrade stuff and you know do this live, God bless you. I personally have spent a couple $1,000s on my own money and time, because time is money as well, and just like doing this for free on my own dime. And fundraising is essential. There's several different websites you can fundraise from. WePay.com is one of the ones I use. It's kind of cool because, well, they used to offer the paper check, where if I'm in Pittsburgh, I work with you, you're in, you know, San Francisco, unfortunately you get mugged or something, I got to wire you money. From the WePay to like help you out, we have, you know, X number of dollars in there, I can send you a paper check. Now WePay, I think, is getting rid of that option, and you can either, pretty much the only option is to sync it up to a credit, or not a credit card, but a debit card. or you can get like a NetSpend card or stuff like that. It's kind of cool. They don't really promote you much, so you got to do a lot of like shameless plugging on Facebook, like you know, legitimate status update. Please help me get to Game 7 of the World Series to cover it 1,800 times with your WePay on it. You have Kickstarter.com, which is awesome. I really don't know much about it. And actually, this gentleman here, Brian, is going to be speaking about Kickstarter tomorrow morning at 10. And then someone just turned me on to Indiegogo.com, which is, at the time, I guess these people were raising money off of it. It was cool because if I wanted to just set up a long-term campaign where I know I'm going to need like $5,000 or $6,000 in the next year, I can just set that up and go. And it stays up there. I think now they only option it to 60 days, 60 or 90 days.
For Kickstarter or Indiegogo?
Indiegogo.
I'm not sure. I mean, the only things I know, the differences I know between Indiegogo and Kickstarter off the bat are, I think, is it Kickstarter that you have to reach your full goal before you get any money?
Yeah.
Or is there an option with Indiegogo that lets you, if you raise partial funds, they'll take more? I think that's a different percentage, but you can make a partial goal.
And
still get some of your funding, so if you buy one piece of equipment versus.
And of course, I think every donation or every amount over $100, you got to pay taxes on. They'll send you a little form. You can also do, of course, PayPal, which is good. I'm actually using that to invoice my clients. Some of the live streaming work I've been doing has landed me work elsewhere, again with bands, and I just started live streaming for the Citizen Police Review Board here in Pittsburgh. They were intrigued by the idea of trying to help themselves get out further. And, you know, of course, I'm going to have to pay taxes on that, but it's actually fun and good to start. Not that I'm wanting to make an income off of this, but if I'm going to keep doing it, I'd like to keep doing it at minimal cost to myself, where, you know, everybody got to eat, everybody got to pay your mortgage, pay your car bill.
Oh, that's small stuff.
What's that? Yeah.
That's small stuff.
But WePay will actually allow you to set up, you know, I want to raise money for the next like 4 years and stuff like that. You can just go and you set your amount and stuff like that.
Have you ever heard of Chip In?
No, I haven't.
Like, yeah, it's a website that can link up to a PayPal account. Like you can give them, okay, this is my PayPal account, and then it'll make a little web app. I think just copy and paste the HTML to your website, and like that, and it'll kind of like a little box about this big on links that's big on my screen like that, and it just says like I need like a certain like say $500 by December 25th or something like that, and then you can track the growth of.
Yeah, so like it is, all the time on Facebook. They use it for like animals, like for horses or whatever that need to be rescued.
Yeah.
It'll be like he's going to auction on Friday, he needs $600 to get him out and bail him out. People kick in $10 at a time or whatever. They use it a lot.
See, that's what's cool about doing like podcamps and little media conferences, because like you always learn stuff, or you learn a different avenue or a different exploration to go. But again, with the being live, I mean, like, how long did you broadcast? Remember the last?
About 2 hours.
2 hours. Yeah, like yeah, I'll be like, don't cover it. So I think the hostage situation, I had like a 4-hour thing. There's a lot of downtime, maybe if you're going that long, so you have to like find creative ways to keep going, be it singing a song, trolling your friends because they're staring at SWAT teams.
Well, yeah, that's what helps with with what I do. Like I have a lot of viewers and interaction. I answer the questions, so it helps with the content as far as like the audience provides some of the content.
Nice. Interviewing skills is good too. That's another little thing you can learn by doing all this. Again, when I first started doing this a year ago, I really didn't know. I thought it was just point and shoot and let it go, you know. And then during the downtime, I finally actually started like talking to people or trying to interview people, or just like, you know, yes.
If you're on your phone and you're interviewing people, how do you make the sound quality good?
Unfortunately, if you're on your phone, that's why you should have. And this is a bit of a pain in the butt, but I've learned best. Like 9 times out of 10, you'll have good audio.
Yeah.
But like using Bamboozer, like I have been, I had that half-second delay because I don't even know why. Well, they're based in Finland, so I think that has something to do with it. And then Ustream, you also have issues where audio will just magically disappear. A lot of people had issues with that at a lot of conventions in the NATO Summit. So I always try to keep an MP3 recorder with me, and I just started doing this like in the last month. And again, I've been doing this for a year, so I've been like force-feeding bad audios at times to my audience, which isn't fair to them. So I finally just got frustrated, and I had this sitting on a shelf, and I was like, okay, I'm going to start doing this, you know, which is a pain in the butt. Like, if you're carrying one of these guys and you're walking around live, God bless you, you can put it right here, and it may or may not fall off, whereas if you have just something like this, you can just hold it, or, you know, if you've got to change hands, put it in your mouth, and just...
So then you mix it in later?
You could. I mean, the audio on your phone might be better, might be the best. But if you have that slim chance where it's a bug or crash or whatever, you have a backup audio. And then you also have perfectly ready audio to go if you want to break into the world of podcasting as well as live streaming.
I tried that the other day, I was applying for a job, and they had you had to create a 2-minute video. And I'm like, I'm 5 feet away, and you can't hear me. And I was like, well, how do you, when you have an author or something like that, how do you get enough sound?
Was that on your phone, or?
That was, I tried it on my phone, I couldn't get my phone to stay steady enough, so it was on a regular camera, but.
Was it just your phone? Were you live streaming at the time, or?
No, I was trying to record it, but I thought, well, if I'm having this trouble when I'm trying to record it, just as a big video, regular video, if I live stream something, how is it better? Or, you know, I mean, like, as far as sound.
It's usually like what I kind of do, this normally knocks a lot of the problems out. Again, 9 times out of 10 it'll work, and at the 10th time you have issues and the MP3 comes into play. But like, I'll try, if I know that I'm going to be filming something and if it's not spur of the moment, I got time to kill, I'll power down my phone, be it 5 minutes before, just right before, power it down for a minute, turn everything back on, let everything reset itself, and it'll be good. It also depends on how loud, was the outlying environment loud, or?
No, it was in the backyard. There was a bird chirping outside. But I wasn't sure. Like, I don't know. Sometimes I'm like, is it the phone or is it me? Because I don't know. I'm just starting, so I'm like, I don't know if I'm doing something.
Yeah. Sometimes it is going to be your phone. Other times it's going to be your service provider, not AT&T, but what I'm talking about, Livestream, Ustream, Bamboozer, or whatever. And other times it's just the damnedest thing. Like last night when I was doing the gospel thing, I had this mic, which was all right, but when they're really, don't take this the wrong way, but loud, like not loud, was passionate singing, we'll call it that. When that started belting through, this audio went to hell, And then I was also experimenting with YouTube's Ustream, which I'm not sure if anybody's tried that yet. I tried it for the first time last night and I wasn't pleased at all with it, which YouTube gave you the screenshot. You had a giant screenshot with a giant Google logo on top of it, which I really don't care about that. I don't mind if they want to put like a little in the corner so they pimp themselves out and everything else. And that shot was out of focus, and that was using a perfect high-def camera. And then underneath it was the second stream of the stream, I guess, which was the perfect high-def thumbnail. And it just, I don't know. Again, it's 9 times out of 10, it's whatever. But like, out of the best audio, and I even had an external mic running to my MP3 recorder, and that that audio was perfect because it was an external mic, professional grade, which a friend loaned me. And then the better audio of the whole night between the 2 computers and my phone was my phone. And I was actually surprised because it was Bamboozer, and there was still that little audio gag, but it was like pitch perfect, like it was plugged into the soundboard. Whereas if I were to try to do that right now, the audio could like completely blow, Do you have a question?
No.
Oh, oops. It's a fun little world, but it's also something that's very tough. You got to kind of come into your own, like teach yourself, which I know I may have been some help here today, just trying to like jumping through the hoops of trying to communicate and half communicating at times. Stuff that I wanted to pass on because no one taught me this in the beginning. They're just like, here, go. And then, you know, it took forever. And it was frustrating. And then now that I have, you know, more experience, and I'm happy to come do these talking concerts, not concerts, but talking things. But again, it's I'm used to actually being behind the camera and not talking to everybody. I'm actually happy to share what little information I have. But like again, it's a lot of it's gonna be teach yourself. Like Ustream's tech support is no help. You can say, you know, hey, I've had bad audio on this, and they'll be like, oh, well, you know, give us the link, and then they'll be like, oh, we don't know, you know, or Bamboo's is really helpful. They'll actually jump on it, and you'll get a response like that because they're from Finland, and they're really happy when people in America start using their service. But it looks like we're pretty much done here. I hope I've been, yeah.
I was just gonna ask, is Bamboo's are free?
Yes, Bamboo's is free, and you can actually tell them, hey, I'm a citizen journalist. You know.
You get it on your phone.
Yeah, you get it on your phone, and they'll upgrade your account at no charge, and they'll also promote you because it's like God knows what the time difference is between here and there. But I've noticed they have a lot of, not free time. Their workers will actually watch your feeds when they go live, whereas it's Ustream. It's not that they don't care. They have 10 million other accounts to do. So maybe they don't care. I don't know. But Bamboo's will actually watch it. They'll like it. They'll promote it. They'll talk to you about it. I'm actually talking with them about the half-second audio delay, which is kind of a recurring theme with them. And I suggested doing a replace button, so when I can go back, edit my video, put the better audio in, and then upload that video. So they don't have to like deal with the half-second audio lags, and even if the saved recording is good, they'll still have a couple delays, and it's very frustrating, especially if it's a good speech, a good press conference, good interview, great band performance, stuff like that. But my Twitter handle is NunnyMan. If you guys ever need anything, if you guys need promoting too, just hit me up on Twitter. It's NUNYAMAN, and NUNYAMAN. I do tweet some ridiculous stuff sometimes. Depends on how much alcohol is involved, but that's good. Thanks for coming, guys. I'm sorry if I felt a little nervous again. Like I said, I'm used to being behind the camera.
You look great on film, Don. Don't worry about it.
I know I look pretty on camera.